Good morning. We are going on the record at 10:01. Oh, wait, you know what? I just want to make sure the court reporter is ready. Amber, were you ready? Okay, start over. Hang on one second. I'm going to start this. Yeah. Good morning. We are on the record at 10:01 a.m. on May 17th, 2021. Please note that the microphones may pick up background noise, conversations, and interference if unmuted. Remember to unmute to speak. Audio and video recording will continue to take place unless all parties agree to go off the record. This is Media Unit 1 of the video recorded deposition of Dariush Mahboubi, taken by counsel for plaintiff and cross-defendant in the matter of Cyrus Hekmat versus Jonathan Mahboubi and related cross-action, filed in the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, West District, case number SC126852. This deposition is being conducted using Veritext virtual technology, and all participants are attending remotely. My name is Cassia Leet from Veritext Legal Solutions, and I am the videographer. The court reporter is Amber Vallis of Veritext Legal Solutions. I am not related to any party in this action, nor am I financially interested in the outcome. Would counsel and everyone attending remotely please state your appearances and affiliations for the record?
Good morning, David Tarlow on behalf of the plaintiff and cross-defendant Cyrus Hekmat. I work for the firm of Irvin Cohen and Jessup.
Good morning, Robert Besser for defendant and cross-complaining Jonathan Mahboubi.
Good morning, David Berg from Mandavia, Ephraim and Berg, counsel for the deponent.
Thank you. Would the court reporter please swear in the witness?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Dariush, D-A-R-Y-O-U-S-H. Last name M-A-H-B-O-U-B-I-F as in Frank, A-R, D as in David, I.
That would be Dariush Mahboubi Fardi.
Correct.
Do you mind if I call you Mr. Mahboubi, or would you like me to call you something else during the deposition?
As you wish. Anything is fine with me.
Okay, sir. What is your address?
443.
I'm going to object on the to the extent you're seeking his residential address. He can be contacted in this case through me. You can give your business address, Dar, if you'd like, but I do object on privacy grounds to residential address information.
443 North Rodeo Drive, Beverly Hills, California 90210.
Okay, and that's a business address?
Yes.
What business is that an address for?
This is a business for fashion for men.
I'm sorry, I didn't get.
Me neither.
Would you like me to repeat?
Yes, please.
This is a men's fashion business.
What is the name of the business?
Bijan.
Okay. Is Bijan a fictitious business name for something else?
Objection calls for legal conclusion. You can answer, Dar, if you know.
No, but I don't understand. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. What's the full name of the company that is operating out of 443 North Rodeo Drive?
The full name of the company is Bijan Boutiques LLC.
Are you operating any other companies out of 443 North Rodeo Drive?
No.
Have you ever had your deposition taken before?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
I would guess 40 or more.
When was the last time you had your deposition taken?
Roughly 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. Since it's been a little bit of time since your last one, I'm just going to kind of go through the standard admonitions. This is an oral deposition, which means I'm going to be asking all of my questions of you orally. I need you to give me an oral response to all the questions that I ask. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that if I ask you a question, a head, nod of the head or a hand gesture to respond to it is not sufficient, because we have a court reporter here who's taking everything that we're saying down and she's typing it all into a booklet. So you need to respond to me orally. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
This is a deposition. It's not an interrogation. If for any reason you need to take a break, either to grab a cup of water or to hit the restroom, or you want to take a lunch or anything like that, I'm very happy to do so. But if there's a question pending, I just ask that we get through the question that's pending before we go off the record. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Today's proceeding, while we're doing this informally, and it looks like you're either at home or you're at your office, and I'm in my office, the same sorts of penalties, of perjury exist as though we're in court. So do you understand that you are under penalty of perjury here today?
Yes.
Okay. And that you're required to provide truthful testimony here today?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions. I'm entitled to your best testimony. Obviously, I don't want you to guess, and your counsel doesn't want you to guess. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, if by chance I ask you a question where you may not remember the precise answer, but you can give me a reasonable estimate or an estimate, I'm entitled to that. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Did you review any documents in preparation for your deposition here today?
No.
There's one more admonition, and so far it looks like it's not going to be a problem. We can't talk over each other during this deposition, because then the court reporter can't take it down. There may be times that I talk over you. I will do my best not to do so. And I ask that you wait until I'm completely done with my question before you start answering. Can you do that?
Yes.
Great. Now, on any of these 30 or 40 occasions or more that you've testified at a deposition, have any of those cases ever involved your son, Jonathan?
I don't remember. I don't have a precise answer for you. It could or it couldn't. I just don't remember.
On any of those 40 or more occasions when you have testified in the past, has your son, Jonathan, been a party to any of those lawsuits or proceedings?
I don't believe so.
Did you speak with, okay, how many children do you have?
2.
And what are your children's names?
Jonathan and my daughter, Rebecca.
Okay, so if I refer to Jonathan as your son from here on out, you'll know what I'm talking about, that I'm talking about Jonathan Mahboubi Fardi?
Yes.
Did you speak with your son at all about his deposition testimony in this action?
No.
Did your son tell you that he was deposed in this action?
Yes.
Did he tell you how many times he sat for deposition in this action?
No.
Did he tell you any of the things that he was asked at his deposition in this action?
No.
Did he provide you with a copy of any of the 3 deposition transcripts that were generated from his deposition in this case to read prior to your deposition?
No.
Did he provide you with the deposition transcripts at all?
No.
Did you ask him for the transcripts?
No.
When was it that your son told you that he was deposed in this case? Let me withdraw the question and let me rephrase it. When did you have the conversation with your son whereby he told you that he was deposed in this case?
I don't remember precisely, but could be a month, 2 months, 3 months ago.
You recall what he said to you and what you said to him about the deposition?
Nothing other than the fact that he was deposed. That was it.
Did he provide you with any other information regarding the deposition?
No.
Did he tell you how he felt about being deposed?
No.
Did he tell you any answers that he gave during his deposition?
No.
Did you ask him what he testified to?
No.
Are you currently involved in any lawsuits at this time?
I don't understand the question. You mean me personally?
Yes. Are you or your businesses involved in any active lawsuits at this time?
Objection, overbreath. May violate rights of privacy. You can answer, Dar.
I can only answer on my own behalf. I am not involved in any lawsuit.
What is Fashion World Inc.?
Fashion World Inc. is a California corporation, or let me correct that. It could be either California or Delaware corporation. That was the original founder of Bijan Boutique.
And is Fashion World Inc. still in existence?
Yes.
Does it still do business?
Objection, vague and ambiguous.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Okay, well, you said that it's still in existence. What does it do? What does the company do?
The company owns an LLC.
What LLC does it own?
It owns an LLC called Bijan Holdings LLC.
And does Bijan Holdings LLC own Bijan Boutique LLC?
Yes.
Has your son ever worked for Fashion World Inc.?
You don't understand the question. What do you mean by work?
Has he ever been an employee of Fashion World Inc.?
I don't believe so, no.
Has he ever been an independent contractor who's performed services on behalf of Fashion World Inc.?
Yes.
Does he currently perform services as an independent contractor for Fashion World Inc.?
There is no active project in progress at the present time.
So when your son works, withdrawn. So when your son in the past has worked as an independent contractor for Fashion World Inc., has it been on a project by project basis?
Yes.
And can you please describe for me each project which your son has worked as an independent contractor for Fashion World Inc.?
Objection, over breath. As to time and relevance.
You can answer.
Jonathan was involved in potential financing of the purchase of Bijan Boutique's previous location and financing and sale of that property.
And when you say that he was involved in the potential financing of the purchase of Bijan Boutique's prior site, what do you mean by that?
Previous to the present location of Bijan Boutique, Bijan Boutique was located at a different location, and the company signed a purchase and sale agreement to buy the property where it was previously located.
Where was Bijan Boutique previously located?
At 420 North Rodeo Drive.
Did Bijan Boutique or Fashion World Inc. or Bijan Holdings own the building at 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No, the companies you mentioned were tenants at 420 North Rodeo.
Who owned the building?
The landlord owned the building.
Okay, and who was the landlord?
There was a trust called Barton Trust.
And were any of the Bijan affiliated companies, and those Bijan affiliated companies be Bijan Boutique, Bijan Holdings, Fashion World Inc., were any of those companies attempting to purchase the building at 420 North Rodeo?
Objection vague and ambiguous as to the word attempting.
Yes,
And who was involved? Okay, withdrawn. Who was involved on behalf of the Bijan affiliated companies in negotiating any purchase price with the landlord at 420 North Rodeo Drive?
did you say on behalf of the Bijan companies?
Yes.
I was involved.
Okay, was Johnny involved in that?
No,
Whose idea was it to have okay, withdrawn. Did any of the Bijan affiliated companies ever purchase 420 North Rodeo Drive?
yes,
Which one?
I believe it was Fashion World Inc.
Does Fashion World Inc. currently own 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No,
Did it sell it?
yes,
Okay, so when did Fashion World Inc. acquire 420 North Rodeo Drive?
in 2016.
Do you recall what month?
I believe it was July 2016.
And did Fashion World Inc. sell 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Yes,
When did it sell 420 North Rodeo Drive?
in July 2016.
Well, you just said it acquired it in July of 2016 and it immediately sold it?
Yes,
And who did Fashion World Inc. sell 420 North Rodeo Drive to?
I'm trying to give you a precise answer, but I just know who the sponsor of the buyer was, but I don't know what company they used to purchase it.
Okay, what do you recall about the sale of the building?
The building was sold to a subsidiary of LVMH.
Did your son line up a buyer for 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Objection vague and ambiguous.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. Did your son find the buyer that Fashion World Inc. sold the building to in July of 2016?
Indirectly, yes.
Okay, how did he do so?
Jonathan wrote about loan brokers and real estate brokers to the company, to the Bijan company, and basically was involved in coordinating the involvement of the brokers vis-a-vis myself.
So he introduced you to the loan brokers?
Yes,
And did he introduce you to real estate brokers?
yes.
Okay. What were the names of the loan brokers that he introduced you to? Let me withdraw that question. What was the name of the company that the loan brokers worked for that he introduced you to?
Objection lacks foundation.
I don't remember the name of the company at the present time.
Okay, what were the names of the individual loan brokers that he introduced you to?
Mark, I have to check my phone directory to see if I can find it. Mark Schillinger.
Were there any other loan brokers that he introduced you to in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
I don't remember.
Withdrawn. What company, withdrawn. What was the real estate broker or brokers that your son introduced you to in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
It was the real estate brokers that worked for the same company that Mark Schillinger worked for.
Do you recall their names?
No,
Did you know Mark Schillinger prior to the sale of the 420 North Rodeo Drive building?
no,
Do you know how your son knew him?
no.
How about those real estate brokers or broker that your son introduced you to? Did you know him or them prior to this transaction?
No,
Did you have any written contract with your son with respect to compensation for the services that he provided to Fashion World Inc. in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Vague and ambiguous, lacks foundation as to the word you.
no,
Did Fashion World Inc. have any contract, withdrawn, did Fashion World Inc. have any written contract with your son with respect to the services which he performed in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
no,
Did Fashion World Inc. have any oral contracts with your son with respect to the services which he provided in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Objection calls for legal conclusion. You can answer, Dar.
There was no oral contract, there was an oral understanding.
Okay, what was the oral understanding?
The oral understanding was that he would receive a finder's fee once the sale was concluded.
And what was the finder's fee for?
Finder's fee was for his bringing real estate brokers and loan brokers who were involved in the negotiation for the financing or sales.
I apologize. I didn't catch the last end of that answer. Witness, can you repeat that, please?
His involvement was to bring a loan brokers and the real estate brokers to Fashion World Inc.
Okay, and how was this oral understanding that a finder's fee was to be paid to your son for bringing loan brokers and real estate brokers to the transaction? How was this oral agreement or oral understanding put together? Was it a conversation with you and your son? Was it a conversation with your son and someone else?
No, it was an understanding based on previous loan or real estate transactions that he had been involved in the past prior to this transaction.
Okay, so did you have a conversation with your son where you told him that you would give him the same finder's fee that he received in the past if he were to bring loan brokers and real estate brokers to the sale of the 420 North Rodeo Drive transaction?
That was the understanding.
Okay, when did you have a conversation with your son regarding that?
I don't remember.
Okay, do you ever remember talking to him about what the basis of his finder's fee would be?
I don't remember.
Okay, do you recall what the finder's fee, withdrawn. Do you recall what the finder's fee that Fashion World Inc. agreed to pay your son for bringing real estate brokers and loan brokers to the transaction concerning the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that?
I believe it was 1/2 of 1%.
Do you know if any of that was in writing?
It was not in writing.
Okay. Did your son have anything to do, withdrawn, did your son perform any services on behalf of Fashion World Inc. in connection with the purchase of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No.
So he didn't line up any financing to purchase 420 North Rodeo Drive, correct?
That's not what you asked.
Okay, let me rephrase the question then, so we're both on the same page. Did your son provide any services to Fashion World Inc. in connection with the purchase of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Yes, he brought the brokers for financing and the brokers for sale.
And did he, withdrawn, did your son provide any services to Fashion World Inc. in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Objection asked and answered.
Yes,
And what services did he provide?
he brought the brokers that eventually found the buyer for the property.
Now, sir, you've testified that his agreement, withdrawn, you testified that the agreement to provide him a finder's fee was based upon previous transactions that Fashion World Inc. had with him, correct?
Right.
What previous transactions did Fashion World have with your son with respect to finding either loan brokers or real estate brokers to provide those services to the company?
Objection over, breath. You can answer, Doc.
None.
Okay, had he ever earned a finder's fee with Fashion World Inc. in the past?
No.
Had Johnny ever earned a finder's fee, withdrawn, had your son ever earned a finder's fee with Bijan Holdings LLC at any time prior to the purchase and sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No.
Had your son ever earned a finder's fee with respect to the purchase and sale of any real estate on behalf of Bijan Holdings LLC prior to the transaction concerning 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No.
Had your son ever earned a finder's fee with Fashion World Inc. at any time prior to the transaction with respect to 420 North Rodeo Drive?
No.
Is that a no? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Was that a no?
No.
Has your son ever, excuse me, someone's tapping on the keyboard and it's kind of drowning out the noise coming on here. Thank
Sorry, I
you.
believe that was me. I'll stop.
It's okay. It actually was coming through, I think, louder than Mr. Mahboubi's voice.
I type too hard. People tell me
Yeah.
that all the time.
So, okay, Mr. Mahboubi, did your son ever earn any finder's fee with respect to the sale of any real estate for any company which you're involved in at any time prior to the purchase and sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Could you repeat that question? It was a little bit long. I lost the first part of it.
Sure, I lost it while I was actually trying to spit it out. So I'll try to rephrase it and make it shorter. Did Johnny ever earn any finder's fee with respect to the purchase and sale of any real property on behalf of any company that you're affiliated with prior to July of 2006?
I don't remember. He could have.
Do you have any recollection of ever paying him a finder's fee other than the finder's fee paid in connection with the sale of 420 North Rodeo Drive?
Again, I'm not clear on who you mean by you. Could you explain
Well, sure. Well, let's break it down a little bit. What's your position at Fashion World Inc.?
I'm the president of Fashion World.
And do you have a position at Bijan Holdings LLC?
Yes,
What's your position there?
I'm the managing partner.
And do you have a position at Bijan Boutique LLC?
Yes,
And what's your position there?
president.
Okay, so you are the person at the top of the food chain at all three of those companies, correct?
Correct.
So from here on out, I'm just going to call them your companies, if you don't mind. Would you understand when I say your companies, we're talking about those three companies?
I'm going to object to that characterization as imposing a legal conclusion and lacking foundation.
Then how about this? What if I refer to them as the Bijan companies? Would you understand what that means?
Yes,
Okay, and that includes Bijan Boutique LLC, Bijan Holdings LLC, and Fashion World Inc.?
yes.
Okay. Do you recall your son ever receiving any sort of a finder's fee from any of the Bijan companies other than the finder's fee related to the sale and purchase of 420 North Rodeo Drive? Okay, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that again because I don't think that your voice was heard.
No,
Has your son ever been an employee of Bijan Boutique LLC?
I don't believe so.
Has your son ever been an employee of Bijan Holdings LLC?
No,
Are there any other affiliated, withdrawn, are there any other companies that are affiliated with Fashion World Inc. that you know of?
uh, I don't understand affiliate.
Well, is Fashion World Inc. a parent company to any company that you know of?
Fashion World Inc. is the parent company of Bijan Holdings LLC.
Okay, is it a parent to any other company other than Bijan Holdings?
No,
Is Fashion World Inc. affiliated with any other companies other than Bijan Holdings LLC?
Objection calls for legal conclusion, vague and ambiguous.
you mean common ownership? I don't understand affiliated.
Yeah, is it related to any other companies?
Same objection.
The Bijan world.
Well, Fashion World owns Bijan Holdings LLC. That's all it owns.
Okay, so its only line of business is owning Bijan Holdings LLC?
Yes,
Bijan Holdings LLC. Does it have any other line of business other than owning Bijan Boutique LLC?
yes.
Okay, what other lines of business does it have other than owning Bijan Boutique LLC?
Bijan Holdings owns the brand Bijan. and it owns Bijan Boutiques, Las Vegas.
Okay, does Bijan Holdings LLC own anything else?
I'm not sure. That's all I know.
Has your son ever been an employee of the Grand Bijan?
No,
Has your son ever been an employee of Bijan Boutique Las Vegas?
no,
Does the Grand Bijan own any interest in any companies?
Mr. Tarler, I'm having a hard time hearing. Are you saying the brand, B-R-A-N-D?
I believe that Mr. Mahboubi said that the Grand Bijan. Is that correct, Mr. Mahboubi?
I said brand, the brand Bijan, like, you know, companies that own brands like Louis Vuitton or Chanel or Gucci. Brand Bijan is the B-I-J-A-N that is the brand that is on our products.
So Bijan Holdings LLC owns the trademark to Bijan, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Does it own any copyrights to Bijan?
Yes, all the intellectual property related to the brand is owned by Bijan Holdings.
Okay. So your son has ever worked for Bijan Las Vegas, correct?
Correct.
And he's never worked for Bijan Boutique LLC, right?
Objection asked and answered.
Again, by work, you mean to be on payroll or work as an independent contractor? Your questions are quite vague.
Okay. Was he ever a W-2 employee for Bijan Boutique LLC?
I believe he receives nominal amount, but he doesn't really work here on a daily basis.
Okay. So you said that you believe he receives a nominal amount. How much is that nominal amount that he receives from Bijan Boutique LLC?
Objection lacks foundation.
Probably $500 or $600 a month, something like that.
And what does he receive that $500 to $600 a month for?
Nothing in particular.
Okay. Does he perform any services for Bijan Boutique LLC to earn that $500 to $600 a month?
He is available for consultation if I have any questions that comes up.
Okay, consultation on what?
On the some of the designs of the products that we do and pricing.
Does your son have any expertise in fashion design?
Objection vague and ambiguous. Lacks foundation.
I don't think so.
Has he ever been to fashion school?
I don't think so.
Has he ever worked in retail sales of fashion goods?
I don't believe so.
Does your son have a degree in marketing?
I don't know.
Do you know if your son is a college graduate?
I don't know.
Okay. Does your son have any expertise in retail pricing of goods?
Objection, vague and ambiguous.
He is a user of branded merchandise, so I use him as a sounding board for our pricing.
But he doesn't have any expertise other than being someone who's bought goods in the realm of pricing. Isn't that true?
Objection, argumentative.
He's familiar with the kind of items that he buys and uses, and in our business, when we have similar merchandise, I use him as a sounding board for pricing.
Does your son wear Bijan clothing?
Sometimes.
Okay, other than you using him as a sounding board for design and pricing, does he do anything else with respect to Bijan Boutique LLC in order to earn his $500 to $600 a month?
I didn't say design. I said the products that we design, meaning the Bijan Boutique designs, I've used them just for the pricing purpose.
Okay, so pricing is the only thing that he ever consults with you about, correct?
No, we consult about other things, but as it relates to the Bijan Boutique, I consult with him on the pricing of certain particular items.
Okay, does your son, is your son required to spend any amount of time at Bijan Boutique on a daily or weekly basis in order to earn his $500 to $600 a month?
No,
Is your son provided with health insurance through Bijan Boutique LLC?
yes,
Does Bijan Boutique pay for his health insurance, or does he pay for it, or something else?
I didn't understand.
Who pays for his health insurance?
Bijan Boutiques LLC.
So your son isn't responsible to personally pay for his own health insurance, correct?
Objection, vague and ambiguous. Asked and answered. Lacks foundation.
I can only testify to the fact that Bijan Boutique pays for his health insurance. If he has other health insurance, I have no knowledge of it.
Okay, and does he reimburse Bijan Boutique for any of his healthcare insurance expenses?
I don't know.
Does your son approve of leasing deals on behalf of Fashion World, Inc.?
Objection, vague and ambiguous.
What do you mean by leasing deals?
Okay, has Fashion World, Inc. ever leased any real property to any tenants?
No.
Okay. Does Bijan Holdings LLC own any real property?
No,
Has it ever?
well,
I'm going to object on overbreadth grounds. This is timely.
has it ever owned any property? Yes,
Okay. And has it ever been a landlord with respect to that property?
no,
Does Bijan Boutique LLC own any real property?
no,
Mr. Mahboubi, do you maintain other LLCs which own real property? And when I say maintain, are you the managing member of other LLCs that own real property?
Objection overbreadth.
I'm a little bit confused now. You earlier said you means Bijan companies.
Actually, I think we redefined it that the Bijan companies means all the three Bijan companies because you was too confusing. So when I say you, now I'm talking about you, Dariush Mahboubi Fardi. Do you maintain, are you a managing member of any LLCs that own real property?
Same objection.
I am a member. I don't know if I'm the managing member.
Of how many different LLCs that own real property are you the member?
Objection overbreadth.
I would guess 7 or 8.
And of those 7 or 8 LLCs that own real property, do any of them lease those pieces of real property to third parties?
Yes,
Okay, do all of them lease those properties to third parties?
yes,
Has your son ever worked as a leasing agent on behalf of any of those properties? Withdrawn. Has your son ever worked as a leasing agent on behalf of any of those LLCs?
is involved in a finder's capacity. I again don't understand. Leasing agent means broker. What does it mean?
Well, does he, withdrawn, has your son ever approved any leasing deals on behalf of any of the LLCs upon which you're a member?
Objection vague and ambiguous.
No,
Has your son ever located any tenants to rent real property that's owned by any of the LLCs where you're a member?
I believe so.
Okay, on how many, withdrawn, which LLCs which you remember did your son locate tenants to rent the real property owned by the LLC?
Objection overbroad.
I don't remember.
Okay, is it more than one property?
Same objections.
Yes,
Is it more than 2 properties?
Same objections.
could be. I don't remember.
Could it be more than 3 properties?
Same objection.
Could be. I don't remember.
Okay, so which properties do you recall your son receiving a finder's fee on?
Same objection. Lacks foundation.
He earned finder's fee for rodeo collection. He earned finder's fee for Beverly Dayton LLC.
Can you recall anyone else? Withdrawn. Can you recall any other finder's fee that he earned with respect to any LLC which you remember?
So I testified earlier, he could have, but I just don't remember right now exactly which one.
Okay, is Rodeo Collection an LLC?
I think so. I think it's an LLC.
Okay. What did your son do to earn a finder's fee in connection with Rodeo Collection?
We found the brokers and the lenders that finance the rodeo collection.
So what does Rodeo Collection, withdrawn. Does Rodeo Collection own real property?
Yes.
Does it still own real property?
Yes.
Has Rodeo Collection only owned one piece of real property?
Yes.
Okay, and where is that property located?
That property is located at 421 North Rodeo Drive.
And okay, so who owns Rodeo Collection? Rodeo Collection LLC?
Objection overbroad, violates rights of confidentiality and privacy.
Rodeo Collection owns Rodeo Collection property.
Okay, so Rodeo Collection owns 421 North Rodeo Drive, correct?
Yes.
And that's the only piece of real property that it owns, correct?
Yes.
When did it acquire 421 North Rodeo Drive?
Objection lacks foundation.
Approximately in 1978.
Now, did the services that your son earned a finder's fee on with respect to the Rodeo Collection property, was that for refinancing that property?
Yes.
And when was that property refinanced? Withdrawn. When was that property refinanced in connection with services provided by your son?
It was multiple times between year 2000 and 2000 and the present time.
How many different refinances did your son provide services for?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
And do you recall what your son was paid for providing services with respect to those refinances?
Objection overbroad.
I don't remember how much he earned.
Was it more or less than $100,000 on any of those transactions?
It was more than 100,000.
Was it more or less than 250,000 on any of those transactions?
Same objection.
Yes, was more than 250.
So each time he handled a refinance, the finder's fee was more than $250,000?
Yes.
And what was his commission on the finder's fee? Was it still 1/2 of 1%?
Yes.
And was that based on the cash out that was taken in the refinance of the 421 North Rodeo Drive property?
Objection lacks foundation, overbroad.
I don't understand cash out. What do you mean by cash out?
Well, I'm trying to understand what the basis of your son's commission was in handling the refinance of the building at 421 North Rodeo. Was it based upon the fact that the company was taking cash out of the building and he would get a piece of that during the refinance? Was his commission based upon the amounts that the Rodeo collection saved in refinancing to a lower rate, or something else? I mean, what's the basis of how he was getting paid?
Basis is usually the amount of the loan.
And how much was the amount of the loans, of each of the loans obtained to refinance the building at 421 North Rodeo Drive?
Objection, overbroad.
The loans varied from time to time. Sometimes it was 80 million, times it was 100 million.
Okay. With respect to Beverly Dayton, did your son also handle the refinance of that property?
Objection, vague and ambiguous as to handle.
I'll rephrase the question. With respect to Beverly Dayton LLC, did your son also earn a finder's fee in connection with the refinance of the property owned by that company?
I believe he did.
On how many occasions has he earned a finder's fee with respect to the refinance of property owned by Beverly Dayton LLC?
Objection, overbroad.
I think once.
Do you recall when that was?
Same objection to this line of question.
No.
Do you recall what decade it was?
I can approximate after year 2000.
After the year 2000, but before 2005?
I don't remember.
Do you know if it was before or after the year 2010?
I don't remember.
What real property is owned by Beverly Dayton LLC?
The property located on Beverly Drive.
What's the address?
I only know it's on the 300 block. I don't know the street numbers.
And his finder's fee was a finder's fee for bringing in loan brokers? with respect to the refinance of the Beverly Dayton property?
Yes,
And do you recall how much he was paid in finder's fee for the refinance of the property located, or the property owned by Beverly Dayton LLC?
no,
Do you recall whether it was more or less than $100,000?
I don't remember.
Okay, so the property owned by Beverly Dayton LLC, does the LLC lease that out to tenants?
Yes,
And has your son ever procured any tenants for that property?
I don't think so, but he could have. I mean, we're talking about a very long period of time. I just can't give you a precise answer.
Has your son ever brought you any real estate transactions? Withdrawn. Has your son ever found any real estate transactions for property which any of the companies that you're involved with have ended up purchasing?
I don't think so, but I can't be sure.
Does your son have a real estate agent's license?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Is your son a licensed real estate broker?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Is your son a qualified withdrawn? Does your son have any license in the banking industry?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Mr. Mahboubi, Mr. Mahboubi, in the event that one of the Bijan companies were to purchase a piece of property, are you the decision maker who decides
Objection.
whether or not?
Sorry. Objection vague and ambiguous.
I'll rephrase.
Incomplete hypothetical.
Okay, I'll rephrase the question. With respect to all the property that's ever been purchased by any of the Bijan entities, were you the person making the decision to actually go ahead and make those purchases?
Yes,
And does your son have approval power on behalf of the Bijan companies to approve purchase or sale transactions with respect to real property?
no,
Are you aware of any lawsuits that your son is currently involved in?
other than this, this subject of this deposition.
Other than this case, are you aware of any other lawsuits that your son is involved in right now?
I'm not sure. I don't know a precise answer.
Okay, are you aware that he is currently being sued by someone by the name of Alana Ogden?
I'm not familiar with that.
Have you ever heard that name before?
I have.
Okay, and when have you heard that name before?
It could be a year, 2 years.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk above you.
I said a while back. It could be a year, could be 2 years.
And how did you hear that name?
Uh, I don't remember.
Okay, did your son mention that name to you?
Could have, but I just don't remember where I heard it.
Okay, did your son tell you that she was a Las Vegas stripper who is suing him?
No,
Did he tell you that she was a Las Vegas stripper who accompanied him on an airplane from Las Vegas to Los Angeles while he was carrying $1.8 million?
no,
Did he tell you that Miss Ogden, withdrawn, did he tell you that he believed Miss Ogden orchestrated the theft of $1.8 million from his house?
no.
Okay, what, if anything, do you remember him saying about Alana Ogden?
I just don't remember. You asked me if I had heard the name, and I said, yes, I'd heard the name.
Okay, where were you the first time you heard the name?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Okay, do you remember what you were discussing with, withdrawn? You heard the name from your son, correct?
I don't know. Could have been my son. I just don't remember.
So all you know is, sitting here today, the only thing you remember is you've heard that name before, that's it?
That's correct.
You don't remember the context in which the name was brought up?
No,
You don't remember where you were when you heard the name?
no,
Have you ever heard the name Emmanuel Zola?
no.
Did your son tell you that Alana Ogden is suing him?
Objection asked and answered.
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't discuss these things.
Well, okay. Have you ever heard the name Ashley Barber?
No,
Has your son ever mentioned the name Ashley Barber to you?
no,
Has your son told you that he is currently being sued for sexual assault?
no,
Has your son asked you to help him out with any legal fees in connection with the multiple lawsuits that he's dealing with right now?
yes.
Okay, can you please tell me what your son asked of you and what your response to him was with respect to his legal fees in the lawsuits he's currently dealing with?
He asked if I would loan him sums required to pay his lawyers, and I said yes. I would loan him the money.
And when was that conversation?
A number of years ago.
Okay, was it one conversation or more than one conversation?
Well, basically, one conversation.
Did you ask him about the lawsuits?
No,
Did you ask him why he's being sued?
no,
Did he tell you about the lawsuits?
no,
Did he tell you why he was being sued?
no.
Okay, we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. Why don't we take a 10-minute break right here? Give the court reporter a little bit of a break, and we'll come on back. Everyone okay with
All right.
that?
That's fine.
Okay, this
Okay.
marks the end of volume 1, media number 1 of the deposition of Darius Mahboubi. The time is 11:22 a.m. We're off the record.